Good afternoon. This is Brad Johnson reporting for LCTV Channel 20. We are here at the South Salem Presbyterian Church to welcome you to the 37th Memorial Day Fair. The events today started with a 5K, 10K, and 1 mile races. And now we're here at the church for live music, a wonderful parade, arcade games, great food. So thank you for joining us today, and we hope you enjoy watching the 37th Memorial Day Fair here in South Salem, New York.
American men and women have given their lives in Korea, Vietnam, more recently on 9/11, in the wars in Afghanistan and Iraq, and in the shootings in Newtown and the rescue work in Oklahoma. So the words of my college poet, Lawrence Binjon, remain true, all too true, that they shall not grow old as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them. Jean, would you like to give the invocation?
Good afternoon. Would you adopt an attitude of prayer? Gracious God, we come before you this morning to remember those who have given their lives, those who have given their time, those who have given their freedom so that we might have ours. And as we gather this community with honored guests, we ask for your blessing this day. Amen.
We will now hear Amazing Grace. Thank you to the Mount Kisco Scottish pipes and drums. I would now like to lead you in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to introduce the people on the platform, and I'm going to go in order from my left. Peter Harcum, our county legislator. I got it right this year. Jilly Shell, who you're going to hear from in a second. Councillor Dan Welsh. Councillor John Pappalardo, His Honour Judge Mark Seedorf, my deputy, Peter DeLucia, Jean Ott, the minister of the Stevens Memorial Church. Colin Schmidt, representing Greg Ball. Lieutenant Colonel Frank Kelly, also a member of the town board. Janet Donahue, very much our town clerk. And Joanne Vassy, who has been your receiver of taxes for 30 years. And this is her final appearance on this podium, unless I can find an excuse for her to come back. Finally, Congressman Sean Patrick Maloney on the left. Would you like to come and make that presentation right now?
Good afternoon. What a beautiful day. This is Memorial Day observance number 7 for me, and I can tell you have the best weather of anybody in the Hudson Valley. I brought with me today a proclamation from the United States Congress to recognize the service of our many heroes who are with us today and those who never came home. In lieu of reading it, I'd just share with you the ancient poem that I always think of today that reminds us that even in our sleep, the pain we can't forget falls drop by drop upon the heart until, against our will, comes wisdom through the awful grace of God. What today is about is that somebody's dad, somebody's little brother, your best friend, maybe your mom, your spouse, they're not walking through the door today. They're not playing catch in the backyard. They're not there to stay up late at night talking to you. Because they made a decision as an American to sacrifice for all of us. And those of us who serve, and I'm proud to be with my partners in government today, but those of us who serve are just playing out an echo, a reflection of what real service is. And we do so only because we have the freedom to do so, because others have given their lives. We should remember that today. Thank you for taking part of your day to remember what matters. God bless our veterans. May we never forget.
I'd now like to introduce our speaker, Lieutenant Colonel Christopher Rust, United States Marine Corps.
Thank you very much. My name is Chris Rust, and I am in my 27th year in the Marine Corps Reserves. I'm also one of 3 regional commanders for the New York Naval Militia, where we, under the guidance and command of Governor Cuomo, we serve the citizens of New York State for things like Hurricane Sandy and Hurricane Irene, as well as 9/11 and snowstorms. When I'm not wearing the uniform, I am also an administrator down at Jacoby Medical Center, where I run the ER, Trauma Center, and Surgical Service. So in the next 5 minutes, I'm going to tell you what this year means to me and what this day means to me. And I have to reflect back on the individual that taught me how to fish and hunt, and that was my grandfather. My grandfather and uncle served in World War II. And then after World War II, my uncle was able to find a job with the New York City Police Department. And then the Korean War came, and like me as a reservist, he was called back, and he served with my father. I reflect back on this day in the 60s, where my best friend, Arthur Fusco, him and I used to play soldier in war together, and I think we were Cub Scouts together. And I knew somehow that Arthur was a child whose both parents were doctors, that he would somehow serve this country. And I knew somehow I would do the same. In 1971, I had the pleasure of going on one of many trips with my grandmother, and she took me to the Middle East. And we went to Egypt and Lebanon, and we went to Nicosia, Cyprus, and I'll reflect back on how I ended up there in '03, in Israel, and Turkey and Greece. And of course, I remember my camel rides and around the pyramids, and I remember the Dead Sea and swimming in the Dead Sea and getting a rash because of the salt water. And I also remember Tel Aviv and Lod Airport, and I remember seeing soldiers with weapons, and it was somewhat bizarre to me. But the reason I bring that up, 71, 83, 2013, I went to this beautiful city that I said, when I grow up, I want to move there, and that was Beirut. And I will talk about 1983 and talk about 2013. In 1974, I had the pleasure of going with my grandmother to Africa, and I went to a place called Nairobi, another city that was beautiful. And we had to land in a place called Entebbe, which in the 70s and I remember being escorted by Ugandan soldiers off the plane. And I think about what happened several years later. And then in 1975, this grandfather that I loved so much, that I was leaving for a ski trip. And he says, "Hey, where are you going?" And I didn't have the opportunity to turn back and say, "Grandpa, I love you." And he died that February long weekend. That's what I think about on a day like today. As we go to 1980, my dear friend Arthur Fusco, he joins the Navy and he becomes an explosives ordnance demolition tech and dies somewhere in Honduras and El Salvador. And I wish today I could talk to him about the trials and tribulations of raising a 15-year-old. If I could have a beer with him today. I think about 1983 when I was a student at Syracuse University and I heard of this horrific bombing, and then taking a photography course in 1984 and seeing these horrific pictures, and then finding out that a second lieutenant from Syracuse University was one of the 220 Marines that got killed, and the 18 sailors and 3 soldiers that got killed. And then when we move up here, I find out of a corporal that as I'd always pass 35 in Spring Street, I would pay my respects to an individual that graduated from John Jay, and another Lance Corporal from Ossining. I think about those things on this day, and I move closely to 1991 when my wife and I were living in Chicago, and I had gotten off active duty, and I got activated for Desert Storm, and I said, what do we do? Do we get married? Do we try to have a baby? And that war was only 5 days. I think about the 90s, where I had the pleasure of serving with a person named Sergeant Major Mike Curtin and Gunnery Sergeant Matt Garvey down at 6 Communication. The significance of those individuals, the bombings of the Twin Tower, the first Twin Tower, where First Sergeant Curtin was a ESU master and repelled down the tower. Sergeant Major Curtin also was out in Oklahoma City, and he was there, and he found a Marine by the name of Captain Guzman, who was down in the sub-basement. And they said the building was going to fall, and Sergeant Major Curtin went above ground and said, "Do I have Marines here?" and he found Marines, 2 Marines, and they helped dig out this captain in the Muro building. It took them 5 hours. That's what I think about on a day like today. I think about the bombing of Nairobi, where a Marine lost his life as well. In 2003, I remember talking to my mother, and my mother crying and telling me, "Don't go." And I smiled at her. I remember my brother saying, "Are you upset about going?" And I said to my younger brother, "I'm upset. I'd be upset if I knew I wasn't coming home." In 2004, I lost several Marines. A staff sergeant who was so kind for us when we were over there in '03. When we came there, we had black boots and woodland camis, and we stuck out in Kuwait and Iraq like Christmas trees at the beach. And it was this staff sergeant that was kind enough to get us the gear we needed. In '04, the staff sergeant goes back, had 3 daughters, his wife is pregnant, and on April 15th of '04, he gets killed, and his son is born on November 15th of '04. I think about their walk to that grassy knoll to pay respects to their dad. I think about Lance Corporal Lamb, who was a kid from Queens that when we were pushing through Fallujah in November of '04, as he was guiding a bulldozer, the bulldozer turned over and fell into the Euphrates, and Lance Corporal Lamb took off his gear to try to save this Marine from Peoria, and they drowned. I think about my Captain Nicely in 1986, who made me that great second lieutenant, that retired out of the Marine Corps as a major and moved to Iowa, and then decided to serve with the Iron National Guard. And the National Guard only accepted him as a staff sergeant. And they got deployment orders, and he said, "Let's move up your wedding." In '06, Captain Nicely gets killed in Al-Assad. That's what this day means to me. I think about when they interviewed my wife, the Journal News, in '03 when I was away for Father's Day, and they interviewed me in '04, and they said, "What does this day mean to you?" It's a very sad day for Mother's Day and Father's Day. And so I would ask that you take that moment today to reflect, if you haven't been touched by a military individual, that you reflect, because I'm here today because of the folks that I served with who saved my life. Last but not least, I need to thank several people of this community: Lou Caldera, Mary Lee Cunningham, the Girl Scouts, Increase Miller School, who would send care packages to my Marines overseas. I can't thank you enough. You know, you're over there, and the things that you cherish so much, a letter, a football, chocolate, melted or not, in the hot Iraqi summers, it was still good. And also like to thank folks like Lieutenant Colonel Frank Kelly, Tom Newman, Jason Hinckley, and others that have served, the color guard that I'm so proud to have led this day. I am honored to be here, but it is truly a very sad day. Thank you.
I would now like to ask the Lewisboro Girl and Boy Scouts to lay their wreath. In particular, I'd like to ask Cadet Jennifer Zepp, Brownie, Kathleen DeFade, and Daisy Gabrielle Elam, and Tiger Cub Liam Davis, Cub Scout Ty Grainer, and Boy Scout Ian Wiatrick. thank you. I'd now like to ask Gilly Shell to sing the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets glare, and the bombs bursting in air, and gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
I'd now like to ask the Reverend Gene Ott to say the benediction.
God, again we ask for your blessing as we go forth from this place, as we leave for our barbecues, our time with friends and family. We ask that you would keep the stories that we have heard here today fresh in our minds and hearts. That the memories that we have of family members, of friends, of loved ones, those who have gone forth from here to do their duty, that you would keep them in our minds today. Those who have returned to be among us, and those who lie in places that we struggle to pronounce the names of, that we struggle to find on globes. We ask that you would keep them even dearer to us. Amen.
I'd now like to ask Tom Gossett and Paul Pichette to play taps.
color guard. Lieutenant, carry colors. Mark time, hutch. Forward, hutch.
Thank you all for being here. There is a fair just down the road, as you're aware, and have a wonderful rest of the day.
Good job, guys.
We'd like to welcome U.S. Congressman Sean Patrick Maloney. Congressman, this is a day of remembrance, and we understand you've done a number of these ceremonies today. How is it important for a town like Lewisboro to get together on Memorial Day?
Oh, I think it's so important. You know, I've been all over the Hudson Valley this weekend and then last weekend commemorating Memorial Day. And look, everywhere it's the same thing. It's somebody's missing a dad or a brother, a son, a daughter. You know, what Memorial Day means is that someone who had a family, who we love, went and served all of us and made the ultimate sacrifice. We need to remember that. It's very important. And there's so many vets who have come back from our wars who need help. We need to keep faith with them. We need to help them with these disability claims that are taking way too long. My office is working very hard on that, and I hope veterans will know that we're here to help, that we help a lot of veterans get the benefits they're entitled to. And every day we have people working on these cases because I just think you shouldn't fight for your country and then come home and fight your government. And look, today's a day when everybody can just stop for a minute and just realize that everything we believe in, everything that we take for granted wouldn't be possible if our veterans hadn't sacrificed everything for us. So I'm delighted to be in Westchester, and I'm delighted to and honored to be a part of the ceremony.
Well, and it's nice that the weather held out for us. Beautiful sunny sky today. So it makes your job a little easier.
Oh, it's spectacular. We've been in the rain, we've been in the cold. It's been a cold spring, but this is a beautiful day, and it's so nice because that means all these people can come out here and we can all pay our respects and do so in a beautiful setting like this with all of these veterans, some of whom are getting very old and some of whom have some mobility problems. So a day like this makes it a little easier to recognize them the way we should.
Well, Congressman, we are very thankful to have you join us today and hope you have a wonderful rest of the day.
Thank you very much.
We are joined here, a great group of individuals, Councilman John Papalardo, Deputy Supervisor Pete DeLucia, Councilman Frank Kelly, and His Honor Judge Mark Seedorf. Gentlemen, on this 37th Memorial Day Fair, can you tell us, the importance of the town of Lewisboro getting together celebrating?
I moved up here from the Bronx in 1989 and actually came to the parade that year, and I was amazed about the rural nature of our town and the sense of community that we have up here. It's a great celebration, and I don't think I've missed it since 1989.
Wow. And Councilman Kelly?
It's wonderful to be here on Memorial Day. It's great to see the town come out and the civic intergenerations. We have a lot of the Boy Scouts and the Girl Scouts and the Brownies and the Cub Scouts come out, and it's wonderful to remember Memorial Day and those who have gone before us. And in our very small town, we keep the tradition alive, and it's a magnificent thing to see and do.
Thank you. And Deputy Supervisor DeLucia.
Well, this is my 8th Memorial Day as a councilman serving the town. And it just never ceases to amaze me how even when we have days of rain and doom and gloom, we wind up having the sun come out on a day like today, and that people like Frank Kelly, who serve our country, that live right in our town, the other lieutenant colonel that spoke today, the other volunteers that are all here. It's amazing the sense of community and the dedication to the United States that's right here in our small town. And I'm speechless.
And Councilman Papalardo.
Thank you. I've been in town 21 years, and I always felt that Memorial Day was probably the single most important holiday that we have as a nation. It's a nationalistic day, and we tend to forget during the course of our very busy lives just how indebted we are to the people over the course of this nation's short history that has preserved our freedoms. And it's so critically important that we have young people out here, we have teenagers out here, to see the deference that we give to those people who have served, because they need, more than anybody, a reminder on how fortunate they are to live in a country where our freedoms are preserved by people who give selflessly of themselves.
Well, gentlemen, thank you very much for your leadership in the town of Lewisboro, and thank you for helping us lead this wonderful Memorial Day service here in South Salem.
Thank you. Have a good day.
We are extremely happy to be joined by the master of ceremony today, the town supervisor, Peter Parsons. So, Supervisor Parsons, tell us, it's been a great day today, and even though this is about remembrance, it's wonderful to get the family and friends together in the town of Lewisboro.
Yeah, this day is all about community. And community is what it's all about in the end. The guys who defend the community, the guys we've lost who are defending the community, and the people who are here right now, who are all together and they're all just enjoying each other. And that is a very wonderful thing.
It's so great that we can get our community together for this wonderful day of food celebration, music, arts and games, the races this morning. What did you think of that?
I love the races. I mean, they're a big thing. They had me out there at 6:30 this morning registering people for the races. I've almost done a day's work by now. But the great thing is still that I've got there are 8 of my family here today, and that's fantastic.
So did we happen to see you in the fun run this morning?
No.
No. Okay.
By the time the fun run came up, I was in Golden's Bridge at their memorial service.
Fantastic. Well, Town Supervisor Parsons, thank you for leading this wonderful day of celebration, of remembrance. Great event in the community here in the town of Lewisboro.
Thank you, and I love doing it.
So one of the great things about today's Memorial Day celebration at the fair is all these wonderful games and arcades for the children to enjoy. It's about remembrance, but it's also about getting our friends and family together for a beautiful day of fun, food, and these great games. And it wouldn't be possible unless we had some great volunteers who gave their time today to really host all of these great kids. So we're going to meet 2 wonderful volunteers. I'm going to have them introduce themselves. Your name and where you're from.
James Crescetta from Long Island.
All right. Thank you, James. And yourself?
Marilyn Scrivener from South Salem.
Great. Excellent. So how many kids have been in this wonderful inflatable, room today?
I would say a couple hundred throughout the day. Definitely a lot. It's one of the popular ones.
Nice. And has anybody hurt themselves yet?
Nope, luckily not yet. Hopefully not today.
Excellent. Well, it looks like you've got to have your shoes off when you do this, right? And why is that?
We don't want to pop a hole in nothing, Keep it safe. Keep it going.
So one of the great things about today, in addition to the rides and the food, is we've got wonderful live music. And the great thing is it comes at all ages and all sizes. And this is one of our groups that sang earlier today. So let's get an opportunity to meet one of our fabulous singing groups. So tell us your name and where you're from.
I'm Bailey and I'm from Katona.
Excellent. Thank you, Bailey.
I'm Callie and I'm from South Salem.
I'm Carly and I'm from Katona.
I'm Sarah and I'm from South Salem.
Now, do you guys have a name for your band?
Halfway to Sanity.
Halfway to Sanity, not Insanity.
Think about making some changes. I really don't know what that means. I'm gonna make it with me, It's the only thing I can be. Really see that I gotta be fearful. I really don't wanna be. They invited me to the party, then they poisoned the tea. Well, I ain't gonna be afraid. Even if I stumble, got me an angel with me all the time. She picks me up every time I stumble, and she turns my tea into wine. Asking no questions, cause I won't believe the lies. But I'll tell you what I believe, cause I believe that it's right. One love, one people, one place to call our home. We got one chance in our life, you know, and then our chance is gone. So I ain't gonna be afraid. Even if I stumble, got me an angel, it's with me all the time. She picks me up every time I stumble, and she turns my teeth into wine.
Well, none of today could have been possible without the leadership of Reverend Dr. Chip Andrus of the South Salem Presbyterian Church. Reverend, how was today?
Today was fantastic. Not just the weather, but all the volunteers. And really, this couldn't happen without the people who come and volunteer, not only church members, but many other folk too. Forever Molly and Gregory Fund, Domestic Abuse Network of Northeast Westchester. All of these people came together and made this happen. It's a lot of volunteers and a lot of work, but it's a great service to this community, and we're just glad to do it.
Well, I heard a rumor that I'm pretty sure is fact, that you have just been recently made the permanent pastor of the South Salem Presbyterian Church. Is that true?
That is true, and it's just wonderful to be able to call this place home.
Congratulations. So today is going to end up a great day, many years of hosting this wonderful event. Looking forward to next year?
Absolutely. I mean, you can't beat the weather. Last year it was brutally hot, and I remember cleaning up, and people weren't quite as happy as they're going to be today when we end up after having all of this beautiful weather, beautiful people, beautiful turnout, and just a wonderful engagement with this city, or this hamlet, and all the people who came to be a part of this. It's just a wonderful day.
My back is aching, Lord, and I do believe it's time to get back to Miss Annie. You know she's the only one who sent me here with her regards.
You're watching Lewisboro Community Television, Channel 20.